This is a rhythm of the night. The night. Whoa, yeah. The rhythm of my life. This is a rhythm of the night. The night. Whoa, yeah. Oh, hi, Mark. Hello, everyone. The Disaster Artist finally arrived in cinemas where I live. I finally got to see it after a month of it not being anywhere where I live. I finally got to see The Disaster Artist. Of course, this is based off The Disaster Artist, written by Greg Sestero, and it was about the movie-making process of this film called The Room, directed by Tommy Wiseau. Yeah, for those who don't know, The Room is regarded as like the Citizen Kane of bad films. It is like among one of the best, worst films ever made. And it was supposed to be a drama and unintentionally became a comedy. It is the very definition of a cult film. It had a small following by word of mouth. It became popular over midnight screenings. People threw spoons at the screen. It became an underground phenomenon. And one April Fool's, they even showed it on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, and you were like, what the hell is this? What's going on? Everybody who was alive during that time, you know what I'm talking about. Well, for those who don't know, it's based on the movie-making process of The Room. One of the actors, Greg Sestero, who plays Mark in the film, wrote a novel about his experiences making the film. People thought The Room was a bizarre film, and he showed us that the movie process, the making of the film, was even more bizarre. This is based off the book and movie-making process of The Room. I have not read the Disaster Artist book, and I heard there's much more to it, much more to the story than what was presented in the film. I'm highly, highly anxious to see this come out on Blu-ray, but also to read the novel. I want to read more of this story. It's such a captivating story. And James Franco directs this. He also acts as Tommy Wiseau. His brother Dave Franco is Greg Sestero. You have Alison Brie as his girlfriend. Seth Rogen plays somebody, and many other people are in this movie. You have some cameos as well. And this is really a story about friendship and never giving up on your dreams, no matter how crazy others may think of you. This is a really inspiring film in many ways, and I wasn't expecting to say that. The Room and Tommy Wiseau as a person could easily have been made fun of. A caricature could have been presented in this film. James Franco plays it straight. James Franco shows this a humanity within Tommy Wiseau, and also the friendship between him and Greg. It shows you the human side of the story, and ultimately makes a character very relatable. I'm a filmmaker, and I know how hard it is to make a film. But also, I know how hard it is not to be able to go to Los Angeles or other areas where you can make it big in acting or just have a film gig. I know how that's like. I'm basically Greg Sestero right now at the beginning of the film. I can't afford it. So to have that opportunity to go somewhere and basically work your way to accomplish your dreams is amazing. And to see them get denied, to see them get rejected, people telling them no, and them deciding to make it on their own, make their own film, make their own opportunities, is very inspiring. It's something that I highly relate to. And it's one of those movies, The Room, where Tommy Wiseau did find success. It was a popular film. It's still shown at midnight screenings 15 years later, but it's not the type of success he probably envisioned, no. But in a way, he got there. And that is what's so endearing about this, The Disaster Artist. It shows how something just like out of pure genius can be created from pure disaster. Unintentional comedy. And that's what makes it different, is that other bad films are just bad, or they're made bad on purpose. The Room wasn't made as a bad film, so to speak. It wasn't sought out to be the worst film ever. No, they're trying to make a deep drama, and it unintentionally became this comedic film that was just horrible in every way. And that's the genius about it. But you get to learn so much more. It starts in 1998, and we get to see how Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero meet. Greg Sestero's character here, they're in an acting class. He's very, very nervous. He's very scared. He's not that confident about himself as an actor. And what draws him to Tommy Wiseau is that Tommy is just fearless. He just does whatever the hell is on his mind. And James Franco really presents that very well here. Tommy Wiseau as a person is also a mystery. We really don't know that much about him. And you kind of come to the wrong assumptions here, but ultimately, in the film, despite some of your assumptions of what the relationship may be or Tommy as a character, you do realize that this is a man who has a certain type of vision. He's in his own world. It's Tommy's world, but also he's somebody who really needs a lot of friends. He doesn't have very many friends, and that's one thing that Greg Sestero and him have. They have this dream, this common dream to be famous, to be like James Dean, and you can see that Greg Sestero is with him because not only does it inspire him as an actor, but he sees that, hey, this guy doesn't have a lot of friends, a lot of people to talk to. And there's something very fascinating about that. People in life, there are people in your life that help you during really rough times, or people that you kind of find in common, you know? You're kind of like on the same wavelength. I've had many friends, but there's those really close friends where you're like, yeah, there's like the George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, or like Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, Leo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese type, where there's certain people that really relate to each other and kind of get each other where others do not. But it's a very rough film. It's a dramedy in many ways. You have comedic moments. There is really funny moments if you're aware of The Room, where they recreate certain scenes. Do a very good job at that, I might add. But like, there's certain moments where they're trying to get acting gigs, they get rejected, and Tommy Wiseau's trying to make it big, and they're just like, no, you're not star material. There's no fucking way you're going to make it in the industry. And then James Franco's just like, but what about after that? And it's just so sad and endearing, really, to see him get roles, to see him be thought of as a villain when he wants to be the hero. He sees himself as a hero. So it goes through an 8-month process of him writing The Room. You get to see how they met as friends, how The Room came to fruition, and then ultimately the second half of the film is the hectic production. And wow, this really goes into detail on the production. Maybe not as much as a novel, but like, you really get to see why certain things were the way they were in the film. I mean, there's that part where he can't say his lines and they do 67 takes where he's like, I did not hit her. I did not. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. And it's just like, oh, hi, Mark. And you get to see the certain characters and ultimately the mysterious side of the production of how did it cost $6 million? Where does Tommy's money come from? Other things like that. And then when it gets to like the climax of the film, you get to see the impact this film not only had on people, but as Tommy, as a character, as a person. This did not come out the way he envisioned, and it does get to some very endearing, heartbreaking moments. I, for one, would probably love if people laughed at my film. It'd be upsetting, but I've had an experience where nobody clapped or had any reaction to a film I made. And that was heartbreaking in itself, but I can only imagine Tommy, the way he felt when everybody was laughing at a film he did not mean to be funny. And that's just very sad. For those out there who are wondering, yeah, this guy should not have sought his dream out. He should have never tried to accomplish his dreams. I say bullshit. And here's why. This is an inspiring tale of not only an outsider in Hollywood, but to those dreamers, to those creators who, despite being told they're never going to make it or do something, just to do it anyway, be fearless and do it because that's more than what other people do. I mean, I'm right here right now. I want to make a film, but I really haven't done much. And I kind of wish I had Tommy's drive, that fearlessness of just saying, like, screw it, I don't care, I just do it, you know, and just do it. There's just something there and that is inspiring to all, like, not only individuals in life of going after your dreams, but even like filmmakers or actors, just to go for it. You just never know. You never know unless you try, and this guy tried, and that's more than what some people do in this world. And it may not have been the way he wanted it to go, but he got it. And it's just amazing that we're here years later. You get some nod to Greg Sestero and Tommy Wiseau, their real-life counterparts, towards the end of the film, but the cinematography is very well shot. It's very indie, but like Warner Brothers New Line Cinema basically produced this, and you have A24 distribute it, and it has that vibe. The soundtrack, this is a rhythm of the night. Then they had I'm never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna turn around and desert you. You have finally, it's that song. And then there's like freaking Epic by Faith No More. It's like, what is it? You want it out, but you can't have it. And there's absurd moments. You see Tommy being this jerk, but you also see that he's very passionate about the project. No matter how it came out, he's passionate about it. He has a vision, but you can see how hectic the film set got. I mean, it got bad. He was very egotistical. He's very jealous of Greg Sestero having a relationship, acting gigs, other stuff. Him not being saw as a star, and that really got to him. But ultimately, he was afraid to lose a friend, and I can understand that. And yeah, this is a wonderful movie. Who knew that The Room could have spawned a best-selling book and a film called The Disaster Artist? This is among one of James Franco's best films. It's a dramedy. It has funny moments, but it gets into some really serious stuff. And it's no wonder he's nominated a SAG Award and a Golden Globe so far. He gives one of the best performances of his career. And it's kind of crazy how Tommy Wiseau was inspired by James Dean and James Franco played James Dean. It just all goes full circle. Dave Franco is really great in this. He changed his hair. He's almost unrecognizable. I forget that James Franco and Dave Franco are brothers. I just see him as Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero. Even though at the beginning, James Franco does feel like he's doing an impersonation, you eventually see Tommy by the end of it. So, what do I give The Disaster Artist? I give The Disaster Artist an A and a 4 out of 5. The only con I have with this film, there's not many cons. I just wish it was longer. The editing felt very fast-paced at times. The first half is a bit slower than the second half, but it just felt like they were just going through everything really fast. But other than that, I can't complain about much. I just wanted more. I wanted to spend more time in this world. Both of the characters, Greg Sestero and Tommy Wiseau, are so fascinating, and the whole story, the experience behind the production of The Room is fascinating. It basically shows you how not to make a movie in many ways, and it's just crazy seeing all the stuff they did. It makes you wonder, hey, this guy got a film made. What's my excuse? I need to get off my ass and make a film, because I could probably do better. But it's great that he went after his dreams, and there's a really great tale there. And James Franco doing this for an outsider filmmaker, actor. What's it like to be outside of Hollywood, trying to make it in? And again, it's not the way they wanted it to go, but hey, they have more than what some people have, and they're still talking about The Room. But The Disaster Artist will be remembered as a well-crafted film. The Disaster Artist is fantastic, much in the vein of Ed Wood, directed by Tim Burton. This film definitely shows you sort of the head or mind space of a filmmaker that's still so mysterious, but also it brings a relatable human element to it that's very endearing, and again, could have been a caricature or just a parody. James Franco shows you this human character, this real person, and you get a sense of what he may be like. I also recommend to stay after the credits. There's a cool scene there, but The Disaster Artist, I wish I got to see it last year. It was finally in my theater this year. It is an awesome film. I want to read the novel now. I know the novel's going to have a lot more. And for those who haven't seen The Room, you can go ahead and skip it, but I warn you to watch it with a group of people, because it's kind of strange watching it alone. I've watched it alone. It's funny, but it's not as fun as watching it with a group of people. I mean, you have stuff like this, where they're throwing spoons, but yeah. The Room is a mystery, and it's nice to have some answers to why the film is the way it is. But everything from the soundtrack choices, the cinematography, James Franco and Dave Franco are fantastic. Terrific acting here. Alison Brie. That must have been crazy with the whole family involved in that way. But you have Seth Rogen. So many celebrity cameos. The Disaster Artist is one of the best films I've seen from the past year. And I can't wait to see where it goes during awards season. I'm definitely going to buy this on Blu-ray, and again, I give it an A and a 4 out of 5. If you want to see a good movie, check out The Disaster Artist. If you're into filmmaking, acting, whatever, you definitely love The Disaster Artist. That's it for this video. If you like this video, click the like button, comment, and subscribe for more videos.